conversation, record it. Happy to do so. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Now, so I just want to tell you that it's now being recorded.
Perfect. All right. And
if you don't mind, you can start from the beginning. Yeah.
I'll start from the beginning. Well, the basic idea is New Year resolutions and goals for the new year are like celebrity weddings. They don't last very long. And actually, the Strava app, maybe you know Strava, it's an app, it's a social media for sports. They calculated the day where people start giving up on their New Year's resolutions for doing sports. And that day this year was the 16th of January, which is the second Saturday of the month of January. People start giving up. And the basic principle behind this, and you guys can all see my screen, is that when we set goals, we have a tendency to set them very high, and then we go for a little bit of time, and then our motivation starts going down. And what we're going to do today is actually the opposite. We're going to see what does this look like, this very, very small first step, and how can we increase it in order to get to actually where we want to be at the end of the year. And we're going to do this regarding your activities, because you're all participants, you're all acting towards the same goal, which is Stepup.One. And so that's a little bit of a difference that we're going to do. I will ask you to choose a goal later that is related to you being a part and an actor of Stepup.One. Okay. So keep this in mind. There's a few rules. Please stay on mute. I think, Anis, it's good if you you can stay unmuted, but the other people, just to make sure that we don't have voices coming in from sides, because there's going to be some breathing exercises. There's going to be, everyone can kind of explore and meditate around goals. So we want to make sure that everyone is able to be in their bubble. So have noises disturbing from all sides. The second rule is we're going to do mental coaching. And, you know, it's like when you go play football, you need the ball. When you do mental coaching, you need at least a pen and a piece of paper. So if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen or something to write on, whatever you have to write on, I will give you like a minute right now to go and grab that. Make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen, or if you're writing on your mobile phone, it's okay. But I would encourage you, the good old paper and pen is always handful for this. Okay. And I think I've said everything about the basic rules. Now, there's going to be three parts. The first part is we're going to set a strong foundation for your goals in 2021. The second part is we're going to explore your goals and we're going to work with them. And the third part is we're going to create a commitment so that you can take action on them. And so what I propose is that we start with part one. And for part one, on your sheet of paper, you're going to write a little 1, a 2, and a 3. And next to the 1, I would like you to go into the year 2020 and be grateful for one thing that happened in 2020. And I'd like you to write that next to the 1. Okay. So take your time. Think one thing that you're grateful for in 2020.
One thing that I'm grateful for, not one thing that I have achieved or something like that. It is just that one thing. I'm grateful that I'm still living, or I'm grateful that something like that. Not for some achievement of mine.
Exactly. One thing you're grateful for. And you're already almost making it to step 2. I give you another 10 seconds to write this down. And we make it to step 2.
Yeah.
And next to the 2, you're going to write something you're grateful for in 2020 regarding yourself. So something about you that you're grateful for in 2020.
So what was the first one, Victor? Something, what's the difference? I'm trying to see the difference between the first 2020 and the second 2020.
Well, the first, it can be everything. Like you said, still being alive, anything. The second one, it's something
about
that
me.
You are responsible for and that you're grateful for in 2020.
Sorry, did you say 2020 or
Yes.
30? Oh, which is last year.
Last year.
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
So come again, the last question, the second question.
The second question is something you're grateful for in 2020 about yourself. It's maybe something you've done. It's maybe something that you thought, wow, there I was being a great person. So it's recognizing something you're grateful for about yourself in 2020. It's maybe some time you haven't given up or you kept going. And next to the number 3, you're going to write down something you're grateful for in 2020 about yourself because you learned or you're progressed in.
Progressed.
Learn or progressed. Anything where you say, well done, Victor. You've learned something. You've learned this in 2020. And when you've written down those 3 things, I really invite you to look at them and take a moment to be grateful for all these things. And if everyone's taken the time, we've now looked into the past. Let's look into the future.
Okay.
So to look into the future, we're going to draw, and I invite you to do it also, a timeline. And this timeline, it starts today. So I think today we are the 22nd of January 2021.
Yeah.
And the end of this timeline, it's the 22nd of January 2026. So 5 years. And I would like you to really imagine where is Stepup.One in 2026, how big it has become. And really imagine all the people that have been touched by it. And ask yourself, and this is what you're going to write down right here, who did I become during this journey? Who do you want to be on the 22nd of January 2026 regarding Stepup.One? And
who do I want to be?
And I'm going to give you 2 examples from other workshops in order to maybe activate you a little bit. I brought you Mike and Laura. Mike is working for an IT company. He's a sales guy. He likes his jobs. He doesn't have much time, but he really likes to learn. And in 5 years' time, he said, I want to be a selling machine. That is who he wants to be in 5 years. Laura, she's more into project management. She's a little more junior. For her, it's really important to grow. She wants to be a people connector and developer. That's who she wants to be. And I invite you now to really take a few moments to think regarding Stepup.One. In 5 years' time, who do I want to be? And you write this on the 5 years. And in most workshops, we tend to share these answers. We're not going to do that today. And the reason is I want to make sure that this is completely confidential for you, that whatever you write down, you feel confident. It's your goal. It's who you want to be. You don't need to share it with us. It's only for you. So we won't be sharing, just to make sure to respect the privacy and bubble of everyone.
Awesome.
So you've just written down who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
In order to become that person, you might need some skills and capabilities. And I'm going to give you now 2 minutes to brainstorm with yourself. What are the skills and capabilities you need in order to become that person in 5 years? And I invite you to write it just below. You just list them. The skills and capabilities that you need. And again, I'm going to give you the example of Mike and Laura. Mike, in order to become a selling machine, he needs empathy, he needs discipline, and he needs knowledge. These are the capabilities that he defined. Laura, in order to become a people connector and developer, she needs management skills, she needs leadership, and she said she needs a growth mindset. And so I invite you to think, in order to become that person that you want to be, what are the skills and capabilities that you might need? And I invite you to write it down below who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And as many as you can. If there's 5 coming, write 5. If there's 10 coming, write 10. And if you have more than 3 at this stage, I invite you to pick your top 3 skills and capabilities that will allow you to become who you want to be. You choose them, you circle them, you underline them, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you have more than 3, choose your top 3.
Yep. Do you want me to just tell my top 3?
No, you can. I mean, you can keep them. No worries.
Just
no worries.
Keep them. Yeah, cool.
Keep them for yourself. It's just everyone take a moment. If you have more than 3, you take this moment to choose your top 3.
Top 3.
And once you've done that, we're going to move to the next step.
Yeah.
We're going to stay in the future for this, but we're going to come a little bit back in time.
Sure.
And we're going to come back 4 years in time to the 22nd of January, 2022, meaning in exactly 1 year.
Yeah.
And the question we're going to ask ourselves here is, regarding the skills and capabilities that you've just defined, what would be a result that would make you proud? And we're going to formulate it as a goal. I'm going to give you an example again, Mike and Laura. Mike, he wanted to develop empathy, discipline, and knowledge. And in order to do that, he thought, well, in 1 year time, I want to be reading 100 pages every week. Laura, she wanted management skills, leadership, and a growth mindset. She thought, I want to be a certified Scrum Master. That was her goal. That was her outcome, where she thought, I'm going to be proud, I will have developed those skills. And before you do it for yourself, I'm going to give you a mini talk on how to set effective goals.
Mm-hmm.
The first principle is that when we think of goals, sometimes you think, oh, I don't want to smoke, or I want to smoke less. This is, negative goals. Negative, I want to lose weight, negatively framed goal. I want to procrastinate less, negatively framed goal. And if you have something like this in mind, I invite you to switch it around and to think, what would go up instead? If you smoke less, what are you doing more? Is it exercise? Is it eating healthy? Is it being outside? Is it playing with your kids? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you thought you wanted to lose weight, again, what is it you're doing more? You're eating healthier, you're doing more sports, whatever it is. So if you don't have a negatively framed word, change it into what are you doing instead, and frame it positively. That's number one.
Yep.
And number two is, there's two types of goals. There's outcome-oriented goals, meaning you want to reach a certain outcome. Just like Laura, she wants to be a certified Scrum Master. That means that at some point you have reached the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Mike. He wants to read 100 pages a week, meaning he's doing something over and over and over and over again. And that's an action-oriented goal. And it's both are completely fine. Just be aware. That's why I brought you two examples, because they're different. Mm-hmm. Be aware, are you having an outcome-oriented goal, or are you having an action-oriented goal?
Yeah.
And so these are two principles I would invite you to keep in mind whilst you're setting your goal. So let's go back to our timeline. We're on the 22nd of January 2022. It's a funny date.
Yeah.
And you've just defined your top 3 capabilities that you want to have developed in 5 years' time in order to become the person you want to become for Stepup.One. In 1 year time, what is the goal that you could set regarding those skills and capabilities? And I give you 2 minutes to think about it. And if at this stage you have questions, you can come off mute and you can ask them, and I can help you to write a goal because of the things that I told you about just before. So, but otherwise, I give you 2 minutes to think, what could be your goal for 2021?
Basically, the next one full year. In the next 12 months, what is that I could achieve? Either it is an outcome or an action. Just to give an example, we are doing a Saturday hackathon every week for the last 10 weeks, which means I will do another 56 hackathons, even if the hell is going to fall on my head. That is an action-oriented,
That
goal,
is an action-oriented goal. Yes.
Yeah. So that is one. An outcome-oriented goal would be, we have kept that, we will reach the 500 graduates mark by the end of 2021, which means it's a very clear number. We are right now 50, but we should reach a 500 number by, so it's a outcome oriented goal, so yeah.
Okay. And what I invite you to do is to really do it about something that you can influence. Meaning, if you're not the one organizing or doing the hackathons, it's not under your influence. It's maybe not the right goal for you. But if you're the one driving it, if you're the one setting up the meetings and making sure, then it might be exactly the right goal for you. So ask yourself, what could you have an impact on, also regarding the capabilities that you've just defined. And a good way to ask yourself this question is, in 1 year time, what would make me proud to have achieved for Stepup.One? Or what would make me proud to have achieved in becoming the person I want to become?
Come again?
Yes?
Come again, sorry, the last question?
The last question is, regarding the skills and capabilities that you've defined, what would be a result that would make you proud? And this could be your goal for 2022. Yeah, the 22nd of January 2022. Yes.
Yeah. So Victor, the outcome oriented goal, the action oriented goal, no negative goal, try to reframe it into something positive. But also, if you have identified 4 or 5 top qualities for yourself in 2026, how much of that qualities would you have reached by the end of the first year?
Yeah, you can evaluate for yourself. What would be a good result regarding those qualities? I want to develop discipline. What would be a good result that would make me proud regarding the discipline? I want to, knowledge is important for me. What would be a good result regarding knowledge? A result that would make you proud. And a good way is, what would make me proud? This is something that's the best way for you to define your goal is, what would I be proud of? And now that you've done this, we're going to start cutting the goal. We're going to start slicing it into halves. And the way we're going to do this is, we're going to identify a resistance, because every goal is scary to some extent. And when we're scared, our body shows a resistance. And I'm going to guide you through it. And then we're going to divide that resistance by 2. And then we're going to set a goal that is relevant, that goes in the same direction, but that is less intense. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it 3 times in a row. And in the end, basically, we will have divided your goal by 8, 3 times divided by 2. And this will be your starting point. If you haven't understood it, it's not a problem. Let me guide you. So I invite you to relax, take a deep breath, sit like you want to sit, and perhaps you can close your eyes. And I invite you to really experience the goal that you've just written down. And as you experience it, perhaps there's images coming to you. Perhaps there's sounds coming to you. Feelings. And I really invite you to experience your goal, to visualize it, to hear what you hear, and to really experience your goal. And as you're doing this, notice somewhere in your body a resistance, something that might feel a little bit uncomfortable or tense. And once you've identified it, I invite you to breathe through it. So when you breathe out and you divide that tension by 2, and it's less intense than before. And I invite you to ask yourself, what would be the right level of achievement regarding this level of resistance? I'm going to give you an example. For Laura, that wants to be a certified Scrum Master, she tried at least once to pass it. For Mike, that wanted to read 100 pages a week, for him it was, well, read 70 pages a week. That was his goal divided by 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so I invite you to divide your goal by 2. If it's something that you're doing on a regular basis, like 3 times a week, 2 times a week, or 2 times a month, keep the rhythm, but make the intensity lower. Okay. So for example, if you want to go, it might not be relevant for Stepup.One, but if you wanted to go to the gym 3 times a week, perhaps it's going on a walk 3 times a week. So keeping the rhythm, but lowering the intensity. And I invite you to write your divided by 2 goal on the timeline. And once you've done that, or do you need a little bit more time? What's the feeling? Anis, how are you?
No, I'm good. So when I divide it, am I trying to also put that in the middle of the time? So 20, 20.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. It's just about dividing it. It's just like, as long as you've written it.
Okay, got it.
As long as you've written it down, yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So whatever was my goal that I, visualized, I divide that into, let's say, half, and try to basically say, instead of, every week 1 hour of or 2 hours of hackathon, can I bring down to every week 1 hour of hackathon?
For example,
reducing the intensity. Yeah.
I invite you to think, what is under your control?
Yeah.
Regarding this goal.
Okay.
So like I said, Laura, she wanted to be a certified Scrum Master. For her, divided by 2 was she tried to pass the test. Mike wanted to read 100 pages a week. For him, it was reading 70 pages. So you see, you don't need to numerically divide it. It's about what are you resisting to? What's the difficulty? And that you try to reduce the intensity there.
Got it.
And so we're going to do the same process again. You're going to visualize and imagine the goal that you've just written down, the divided by 2 goal. And you're going to hear what you hear, see what you see, feel what you feel, and try to notice again the resistance coming up. Okay. So I imagine, let's do this all together. If you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. Take a few breaths. and you visualize your goal. You imagine yourself doing it. You hear what you hear. You feel what you feel. And you notice the resistance. And once you've noticed it, you breathe through it and you divide it by 2. And the resistance becomes even smaller. And as it becomes small, you ask yourself, what would be the right level of achievement for this level of resistance? And let me give you the example of Laura. She wanted to she tried to pass it at least once. Well, now that she's divided by 2, she's gathered all the information to pass the Scrum Master. Mike, he wanted to read 70 pages a week. Now it's 40 pages a week. Bahana, you had come off mute for a second. Can I help you with something?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
So yeah, no, I get this, right? So there is an audacious goal. You cut that into half. You breathe through the restrictions or difficulties, and you again cut it by half, and you're trying to basically you will start believing that this is near and you can really achieve it and hold it and actually make it happen. Suddenly it's not anymore very audacious.
And we're going to make it even smaller, ridiculously small now. This is our next step, and I really invite you to be open to it becoming so small that it might even sound insignificant. I invite you to be open to this. Okay. The least amount of resistance. So again, we do it a third and final time. You visualize the goal that you've just written down. You see yourself doing it. This smaller goal. You imagine that you're doing it. You hear what you hear around you. You see what you see, and you feel what you feel. And as you're there, as you're living it, you notice a very, very, very small resistance. And if you noticed it, I invite you to breathe through it and ask yourself, what would be the right level of achievement for this level of resistance? And for Mike, it was reading 3 pages a day. For Laura, it was spending 2 hours researching what she needs in order to pass this certification. And if we take Mike's example, which is an action-oriented goal, which means doing something over and over again, it means that maybe for the 2 first weeks of January, he will read 3 pages a day. And after 2 weeks, he will wonder, can I do more? Can I step it up to the next? And his next level is already defined. It's reading 40 pages a week. And so he's going to try to do that. And gradually, he's going to get his brain and his body used to this new goal that he has. Whereas if he had started by reading 100 pages a week directly, maybe after week 3, he would be demotivated and he would quit. Meaning that in week 25, he's not reading at all anymore. And the goal here is that whatever happens, you're still working on this goal. You're still becoming the person who you want to become with the capabilities you want to develop in week 25 and 40 of 2021. And so in order to do that, I'm going to ask you the last question, and it's the question about commitment. And it's a simple one. Regarding the goal that you just set, the big one and the small ones, what would help you to commit even further to this goal? And I invite you to write down whatever comes to your mind. Perhaps it's making a poster to remind yourself on a daily basis, or a reminder in your calendar. Perhaps it's telling your loved ones that what you want to do, or somebody that will hold you accountable. Perhaps it's whatever comes to your mind. Perhaps it's journaling at the end of the day, every day. What did you do? Perhaps whatever comes to your mind. What would help you to commit to this process? And I invite you to think about things that, again, you can do. So meaning, what would help you to commit? If my boss did it for me is not an answer because it's something that needs to be under your control, something that you can influence. And as we're wrapping up, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the principles behind this method and the workshop. The first principle is, and it's in the title, it's really learn to start very small. It's okay to start very small as long as you keep growing and progressing. The second one is why is that so important? Because your body and your brain is not used to put itself in danger. We're wired to think that danger is, we shouldn't get into danger, and goals are scary. They scare us. We don't, like, our brain reacts to our goals saying, I don't want to do this. Just thinking about going to the gym, you will want to stay in bed and hide. And this is what we're doing right now, was we're making sure that our brain and our body accept our goals step by step. And the third thing is always, and maybe this is something you can take with you, always start with the end in mind. Meaning, we started today by thinking, where do we want to be in 5 years? Who do we want to be in 5 years? And then we worked our way back to what might we do this week and next week in order to get there. Yes, that was my method. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it helped you. I would say let's open the floor for questions. Maybe there's some questions that you have regarding the method or how to do it most effectively. I had a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to see what's going to come out of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me go fast. I don't want to give Anis the chance to start this time around.
Yeah, Bahana. No, I'm going to shut up until all of you finish.
Oh, good. That's great. So thanks a lot. Actually, sincerely speaking, this is the first exercise. I've never done such exercise. And I'm like, I got confused in the process, but at least I managed to write some things down. I'll go back again and digest. I think I need to set realistic goals. Huh? So this is actually very, very nice. Thanks a lot, Victor. This looks like, I don't know. This course, it's like I've just done a 1 year course, like it's incredible, It's easy. I'm seeing myself where I want to be in 5 years, and that I've not even started working on them. It's just crazy. Wow. Amazing.
Keep that energy. Keep that energy for all those 5 years, Bahana. There's going to be great things coming out of it.
It looks like I'm already visualizing myself and seeing myself there, like it's just coming up. It's coming now.
Enjoy it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So, Bahana, what I'm visualizing. I'm visualizing you as some kind of a, like a gang, like a gang leader, like the Italian gang leaders, in Kakuma. No, but, yeah, but, I'm sure your imagination is 1,000 times better than mine. But it's amazing, you don't normally expect, to imagine what you will be in 5 years from now. But Victor, forced me to do that, the first time I met him. So it's really, it really sounds simple, but yet very profound if you work on it. If you simply, just say, yeah, big deal, what the hell is this? Then nothing really happens.
Do we have other questions maybe from the audience about the method or how to do it, or any other way I can help you regarding this?
Yes, Victor, I have one more question. When we are breaking the goal down, when we are dividing them into sections, so I was like, this is one of my goal. Like I was like, I kept dividing it, but I reach a point whereby I just feel like I don't need to divide it again. Like I don't know how do I go about it, because let's say there's something I wanted. Let's say I need to reach to, let's say, 5 clients or 10 clients in a month. And when I divide this into 2, for example, that goes down to 5. Then when I divide this again, that's 2. And I find myself having, let's say, 1 client or 0.5 client. Then I'm like, shit, or like, what should I focus on here? Like, how do I go about this,
So let's take the example of 1 client a month. What it creates is also the opportunity that if you, in the first month, you sign 1 client, you're on track. And it creates a really big room for you to grow, because signing 1 client a month might be easy for you. But that means you can still say, hey, well done, Bahana. Like, you're on track, you're working towards a goal. And then the next 2 months, maybe you'll be signing 4 clients a month. And then you can keep on saying, oh, well done, and I'm progressing and I'm becoming better at this. What we're doing is we're making failure so inexistent, because the goal in the beginning is so small that you can only become more and more confident about your goal. And this is the most important thing. It's more important that you grow in confidence than that you achieve a lot in the first or second month. It's more important that, as I said, in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th month, you keep on progressing from milestone to milestone. And so welcome this very tiny goal, because it's an opportunity for you to have success, because it's easier to have success with such a tiny goal. And then you'll see what happens in the next milestone.
Thanks a lot.
So Victor, Lindsay, Bibek, you guys can also ask your questions, but let me just ask. So I think I have understood the method, right? But can I play with the time? Instead of thinking 5 years, can I take 12 months and then break it down to 6 and 3 months, and then see, okay, I want to do this in 12 months, but where should I be in 6 months, and then where should I be, this month and in the next 3 months? So is it okay to play with the time itself instead of the goal half,
Yes, it is. So I'm going to, it's completely okay. I'm going to explain to you why did I choose these, because it's hard to imagine you're going to be a different person in 1 year time. And why did I choose 5 years? Because 5 years time, it's easier to imagine, whoa, I could grow, I could really become someone in 5 years time. And that creates the level of aspiration that it creates is much, much higher. When you think 1 year, I'm just going to be the same guy in 1 year. But in 5 years, there's so much I could still change about my life, and I could become such a different person. And so because we start on who, then basically how do you want to do it, and then what are you going to do? if that's the basic idea behind it. And so it's possible. I would just watch out that you keep this inspirational component if you're doing it with 1 year. So perhaps you still go beyond the 1 year in the first step, and then you bring it back to 1 year, and then you chunk it down. You still ask the big question, where do we want to be in 3, 5, 10 years? And then you bring it down to the 1 year, and then you can chunk it up. That would be because it enables people to think much more visionary, in a way, bigger.
No, yeah, amazing. Anybody have a question? I have so many questions to ask, but I'm just going to wait till if somebody wants to ask.
This is Lindsay. I don't have a question per se, but I just had some feedback that it's such a versatile process that I'm imagining, kind of revisiting this and going through the process again, whether it's listening to this again, and going, kind of maybe applying it to different goals and revisiting it in, like, say, 6 months or, a period of time. So I think it's probably the best goal setting process that I've ever come across.
Wow. Well, I'm shivering as you're saying this, Lindsay. Thank you very much, because this means a lot to me.
That's great.
Well, first, wow, thank you. And yes, maybe something I haven't talked about, monitoring. So asking yourself, how do you monitor your progress? And of course, at which times in the year you could redo the exercise. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this with you. You can do it by yourself, and you can do it for any kind of goal. Meaning that whenever you have something that you want to set a goal for, you can do this process, and it will just allow you to be more confident about your goal. And so this was also a little bit my gift to you, to say, here is a method that you can apply every time for everything, basically. I mean, or I'm still looking forward to a moment when somebody comes back and says, Victor, I tried it, it didn't work. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Victor, while the next person is preparing his question, I'm just thinking, I'm going to, it's a bit of a shame, but I'm thinking, at least for Step Up, right? Because Step Up is not me, right? Step Up is its own thing. I want to sort of name and shame Step Up. I want to go and tell the whole world, in 10 years or 5 years from now, Step Up has to be here. I want to publish that goal, my 5-year goal, my 3-year goal, and my 1-year goal, onto the world, right? If it fails, then Step Up fails. It's not me who fail. It's very hard for me to do the same thing for myself, because I feel like my reputation is at stake, right? But I'm really thinking that one of my friend, right? She started walking like 20 kilometers a day. That's a lot, 20 kilometers a day. And she used to take pictures of her walk every day, and also the app that basically confirms that she walked 20 kilometers. The map of London, and the round and 20 kilometers. And she used to put it, and she said, I'm going to do this for 100 days. All right. And then she started posting it every day. So it's almost like I became a little obsessed with it. You have to, if she doesn't post on a day, then you feel like, oh my goodness, something is not right. So I think trying to not just set some audacious goals, but if you go public with your goal, tell that you're going to do this. And then every single day, put the proof that, you have done it. Right? She didn't say, I'm going to lose, 30 kgs of my body weight. She said, screw that, right? I'm going to walk every day 20 kilometers. I'm not, looking at an outcome. So I think it's a very powerful thing if we can put it out in the open and commit to it, and then post the proof every day.
It's a great principle. Yeah, great principle. And interestingly, because that might be what helps you to commit, putting it out there and then having to live up to the standards that you put out into this world. Yeah, that's great.
It's scary, but possible, you know. I mean, any more questions? We have 3 more minutes. Any other questions? Vivek, Jean-Marie? I think, yeah, it's so simple.
Hey, Victor, one question. I think the big thing about this is the overcoming that resistance you are talking about. So even if you take 5-year horizon and then divide it by 2 and 2, still it is a big timeline if you look at. So probably we're talking about 1.5 years. So the things will change. So what is your idea about overcoming those resistance you mentioned?
I didn't understand your question completely regarding the relationship between time and resistances, or?
So you mentioned about resistance, and then to overcome that resistance, you essentially divide it to a smaller kind of a goal. But still, if you take 5 years as a horizon, then still it is 1.5 years away from today.
Divided again by 2.
So you'll keep on dividing till the point you will get a month or something. Or?
Exactly this. Keep on dividing until you're at a level of resistance where you say, "This is ridiculous. I can do this."
Okay, understood.
Does this make sense for you?
No, it makes sense. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. Probably 1.5 years.
It's too much.
A very long time.
Yeah. So what Vivek is asking and what you're telling is, it's not hard and fast. You have to only divide it 3 times. You can divide it, as you can keep dividing it until you feel that the resistance is shameful. If you can't even walk 10 minutes, then stop setting goals for yourself. It's like, like shame yourself to do the stuff,
I'm going to give you a very concrete example. I did this with somebody. I wanted to go to the gym 3 times a week for 1 hour. Then you divide by 2, it's going to the gym 3 times a week and walking on the treadmill for 15 minutes. Then you divide it again by 2, and for him it was going to the gym. Packing my bag to go to the gym, but just go for a walk around the block. And then you divide it again by 2, and it's 3 times a week, pack my bag to go to the gym and unpack it within 3 hours. Imagine doing this for 2 weeks. After this, you at least want to get out of the house. and then you move towards going to the gym 3 times a week.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's try it out. I mean, one is my personal.
I have to leave right now. We will stay in contact, Anis, because also I want to give you all the opportunity to. I do personal coaching, and I told Anis I'm willing to give hours to Stepup.One, and so I hope that we meet each other again, and don't hesitate to reach out if it's something that can help you, because as I said, this is how I would like to contribute.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Victor. I mean, precisely we are on time. So let's try and do another session, maybe, once we've all seen this at least once, and try to maybe even set our goals and even make it public, because there's one thing to learn, but there is completely other thing to act. And we want to be people of action. All right.
Thank you very much. We just appreciate.
Yeah. Thank you, Jean-Marie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day, everyone.
You too.
Bye.
Or evening.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye, guys.